In the remote village of Ravenwood, there stands an old farmhouse known as the Holloway Estate. Abandoned for decades, the estate is infamous for its dark history. Legend has it that the Holloway family, who lived there in the 1920s, vanished one night without a trace. The only clue was a diary found by the police, filled with frantic writings about a presence that would not leave them alone. Sound of wind rustling through overgrown grass and distant crows cawing. In the winter of 2020, a group of paranormal investigators, led by Sarah, decided to spend a night in the Holloway Estate. Armed with state-of-the-art equipment and a healthy skepticism, they hoped to uncover the truth behind the legends. They set up their gear in the main hall, a grand but decaying space covered in dust and cobwebs, footsteps echoing, equipment beeping softly. As night fell, the temperature in the house dropped significantly. Sarah and her team began their investigation, documenting strange occurrences. They heard creaking floorboards and whispers, but the footage showed only shadows and distorted shapes. They dismissed these as tricks of the light or their own nerves. Sound of faint whispers and occasional thuds. At midnight, the team split up to cover more ground. Sarah and her assistant, Mike, went to the basement where the diary had been discovered. The basement was cold and damp, and their flashlights flickered as they explored. They found a small, locked room behind a wooden panel, but couldn't open it. Sound of metal scraping and a door rattling. Meanwhile, Emily and Tom explored the upper floors. They found old photographs of the Holloway family, their faces eerily serene. Emily felt a cold hand brush her arm, and when she turned, she saw nothing but shadows. The air grew heavy, and their flashlights dimmed. Soft, chilling gusts of wind, and Emily's startled gasp. Back in the basement, Sarah and Mike finally managed to force open the locked room. Inside, they discovered a small altar with strange symbols etched into the walls and a single, blood-stained book. As they examined it, the temperature plummeted and the lights went out. Sound of a sudden, loud thud and darkness settling in. Panic set in as Sarah tried to turn on her flashlight. The room seemed to close in on them, and they heard the sound of someone or something breathing heavily behind them. When their lights flickered back on, they saw a figure in the corner, shrouded in darkness, its eyes glowing with a sinister light. Deep, menacing breathing and faint, ghostly whispers. Terrified, they fled the basement, rejoining Emily and Tom. The team decided to leave, but as they made their way out, they noticed that their equipment was malfunctioning, showing static and distorted images. They fled the estate, leaving their gear behind. Sound of frantic footsteps and a car engine starting. The next day, they reviewed the footage and were horrified to find that it contained disturbing, otherworldly faces and incomprehensible messages. One frame showed a figure standing behind them, its eyes full of malice. Static and eerie, distorted voices. The Holloway Estate remains abandoned, a place where the past refuses to die. Locals claim that the presence described in the diary still haunts the house, waiting for its next visitors. Some places are trapped between worlds, and the shadows of the past never leave.